Hi. Hi. Welcome back. Oh, you can't sleep. Yeah. Okay. So, which part were we? Oh, we done the part 2. Okay. So now we're gonna start the part 3 at Avonlea School. When school started in September, Anna and Diana walked there and back together every day. What a beautiful day, Anna said happily on morning. As the two little girls walked across the fields, I'm very lucky to have you as my best friend, Diana. You are my best friend, aren't you? Of course, Annie, replied Diana, tucking Annie's head. And just think, today you will meet Gilbert Blade. He's 3 years old younger than us and very good looking. He is just come back from holiday and starts school today. Oh boy, said Anna. I'm not interested in them. But she did look at Gilbert when they arrived at school. He was a tall boy with curly brown hair and a friendly smile. He is good looking, Anna whispered to Diana. But why does he smile at me? He doesn't know me. Avonlea School was quiet that day. The teacher, Mr. Phillips, was helping some of the older children at the back of the schoolroom. Anna was looking out of the window at the red and yellow of the trees and the silvery blue of the river. She was far away in the world of her imagination, but Gilbert wanted her to look at him. He whispered to her, but she did not move. He was surprised. Girls were usually very ready to look at him. Suddenly, he put his arm out, pulled her red plaits, and said in a loud whisper, "Carrot, carrot." Anna jumped up and looked angrily at Gilbert. "You horrible boy," she cried. "I hate you." And then she brought her heavy book down on Gilbert's head. Gilbert and Annie. Mr. Phillips heard the nose and come slowly to the front of the schoolroom. "Anna Shirley, why did you do that?" he asked. She stayed silent. Gilbert said, "I'm sorry, Mr. Phillips. I was rude to her. That's why she hit me." But the teacher did not listen to Gilbert. "I cannot have bad children in my school," said Mr. Phillips. Anne, go and stand in front of the class. And there Anne stood for the rest of the day, a lonely little girl with a small, white, angry face. I hate Mr. Phillips, she thought, and I will never look at or speak to the Gilbert Blythe again. The next day, some of the school children were playing in the farm's field in their lunch hour, so they were a little late for afternoon school, and ran into the class at the same time as the boy just after the teacher. You were late, Anna, said Mr. Flea. You won't sit with Diana today. I see that you enjoy being with the boys very much. So, go and sit next to the Gilbert this afternoon. Anna's face went white. He can't mean it, she thought. Did you hear me, Anna? Asked Mr. Phillips. Yes, sir, said Anna and moved slowly to Gilbert's desk. There she sat down and put her head on the desk with her arm over it. This is the end, she was thinking. I wasn't the only person who was late, and he's sent me to sit with a boy, and that boy is Gilbert Blythe. The rest of the day went very slowly for Annie. When it was time to leave, she went to her desk next to Diana's and took all her books, pens, and pencils with her. What are you doing, Annie? Asked Diana. Annie and Diana. I'm not coming back to school, replied Annie firmly. Oh, but Annie, we are reading a new book next week, and we are playing a new game on Monday, and it will be very exciting. You will miss it, Annie. But Anna was not interested. I'm sorry, Diana, was her only answer. That evening, Marilla ran round to Rachel Lamb's house. Rachel, please help me. Anna says she won't go back to school. What am I going to say to her? Mrs. Land already know about Anna's troubles at school, and she was always very pleased when people asked her to help. She smiled and sat back comfortably. I've had 10 children myself, so I know all about them, she said. Anna can stay at home for a while. She will want to go back to school again soon, I'm sure. So Anna stayed at home and only saw Diana in the evenings. She was a child who felt very strongly. She hated Gilbert Blythe, but she really loved Diana. One evening, Marilla found Anna crying in the kitchen. What's the matter, child? She asked in surprise. I love Diana very much, sobbed Anna. I can't live without her, Marilla. But what will happen when she married? I hate her husband already. I can imagine her in the church in her long white dress, and then she will go away and I will never see her again. Marilla turned away to child, her smiling face. What a strange, funny child Anna was. Marilla tried not to laugh, but she couldn't stop herself. You and your imagination, Anna Shirley, she cried, and she laughed and laughed. Mrs. Land was right, of course. After a few days, Anna decided to go back to the school. All the children were pleased to see her again, but she did not speak to Gilbert Blythe. On an imagination about Diana.